The next 2 days passed like a fever dream. Anthony stayed at the shelter, barely eating, barely sleeping, just waiting for Dr. Foster's call. The other veterans left him alone. They recognized that look, the 1,000-yard stare, the internal war happening behind someone's eyes. They'd all been there. Some of them still were. Anthony read Marcus's journal cover to cover. 3 years of entries. The first ones were bright, hopeful. Anthony leaves for basic training tomorrow. He looks so cool in his uniform. I'm going to be just like him someday. Then slowly, gradually, the entries darkened. Their mother's comments. Her bitterness. Her growing resentment. Mom said Anthony's selfishness is why we can't afford new shoes. Mom said Anthony thinks he's better than us now. Mom said Anthony forgot where he came from. Poison. She'd been poisoning Marcus against him for 3 years, and Anthony had never known. Had been halfway across the world getting shot at while his mother systematically destroyed his brother's image of him. And then, when the letter came about the explosion, instead of telling Marcus the truth, she'd hidden it. Let him grieve. Let him break. Because in her twisted logic, a dead Anthony was easier to hate than an injured one. On the third day, Dr. Foster's call came at 9 a.m. Results are in, he said. Can you be here in an hour? Anthony was there in 30 minutes. Dr. Foster met him in his office this time, not the cafeteria. More private. More serious. He had a manila folder on his desk and 2 chairs set up facing each other. Sit, Dr. Foster said. Anthony sat. His leg bounced nervously. His hands wouldn't stay still. The DNA test is conclusive, Dr. Foster said slowly. 99.9% match. You are Rita Reed's biological son. You are Anthony Marcus Reed. There's no question. Anthony exhaled. He hadn't realized he'd been holding his breath. When can I see her? That's the complicated part. Dr. Foster leaned back in his chair. I called your mother yesterday. Told her about the test. Explained that we had definitive proof. Asked her to come in today to see the results. And? She refused. Said she didn't need to see any test. Said she knows her own son, and you're not him. Dr. Foster paused. Anthony, I've been doing this work for 15 years. I've seen families torn apart by war, by PTSD, by injury. But I've never seen anything quite like this. Your mother's denial isn't based on logic. It's based on something deeper. Something psychological. It's based on guilt, Anthony said flatly. She knows what she did. She knows she let Marcus believe I was dead. She knows it killed him. And if she admits I'm real, if she looks at me and sees her son, then she has to face what she did. Dr. Foster studied him carefully. You know something. Something you haven't told me. Anthony pulled Marcus's journal from his jacket pocket. His friend Jasmine gave me this. Marcus's journal. It has everything in it. Every lie our mother told. Every poisonous comment. The letter she burned. The fight they had that night. He tossed it on the desk. Read it. You'll understand. Dr. Foster opened the journal slowly, his eyes moving across Marcus's handwriting. Anthony watched the psychologist's expression change, surprise, then concern, then something close to horror. He read for 10 minutes without speaking, flipping through pages, occasionally stopping to reread a section. Finally, he closed the journal and removed his glasses, rubbing his eyes. This is beyond grief. This is culpability. Your mother's actions directly contributed to Marcus's death. So what do I do? Anthony's voice rose. I have proof I'm her son. I have proof she lied to Marcus. I have proof she killed him with that lie. So what do I do with that? What do you want to do? Anthony stood up, started pacing. The office was small, only a few steps in each direction, but he needed to move. Needed to do something with the rage burning through his veins. I want to confront her. I want to throw that DNA test in her face and make her say it. Make her admit she knows who I am. Make her admit what she did to Marcus. And then what? After she admits it? Anthony stopped pacing. He hadn't thought that far ahead. Hadn't planned past the confrontation. I don't know. Do you want a relationship with her? Do you want forgiveness? Reconciliation? Or do you just want her to hurt the way you're hurting? The question hung in the air between them. Anthony sank back into his chair. I don't know, he repeated, quieter this time. I just know I can't leave Detroit until she looks at me. Really looks at me. Until she stops pretending. Dr. Foster nodded slowly. Okay. Then we do this carefully. Legally. I'm going to petition for a psychological evaluation of your mother. Given Marcus's death and her denial of your identity despite DNA evidence, there's grounds for concern about her mental state. A judge can order her to attend a session here at the VA with me present. How long will that take? A few days. Maybe a week. Dr. Foster held up a hand before Anthony could protest. I know that feels like forever. But Anthony, you need to use that time. You need to process your own grief about Marcus. You need to decide what outcome you actually want from this confrontation. Because once you have it, once everything is out in the open, there's no going back. Some things, once said, can't be unsaid. Anthony knew he was right. But every cell in his body screamed to do something now. To march to that house on Piedmont Street, and kick down the door, and force his mother to see him. There's something else you should know, Dr. Foster said carefully. I spoke with Sergeant Williams. She pulled the full police report from the night Marcus died. Your mother made a statement to the investigating officer. She said, and this is a direct quote, I should have told him the truth about his brother. But I couldn't. I couldn't let Anthony take Marcus from me too. Take Marcus from her? I never. She blamed you for Marcus's devotion. For his hero worship. She felt like Marcus loved you more than he loved her. And when you enlisted, when you left, she saw it as you abandoning them. Choosing the army over family. In her mind, she'd already lost one son to you. So when the notification came about your injury, she made a choice. She decided to cut you off completely. To erase you. To get Marcus to forget you. And then he'd be fully hers again. Anthony felt sick. That's insane. That's grief and resentment, and 3 years of compounded poor decisions. That's what happens when someone doesn't get help processing their emotions. Dr. Foster leaned forward. Your mother needs serious psychological intervention, Anthony. This isn't about whether she recognizes you physically. This is about whether she's capable of accepting reality at all. So what, she's just crazy now? And I'm supposed to feel sorry for her? No. You're supposed to understand that hurt people hurt people. Your mother was drowning and instead of asking for help, she pulled Marcus under with her. That doesn't excuse what she did, but it explains it. An explanation is the first step toward healing. Anthony laughed bitterly. Healing? You think we can heal from this? I think you can heal from this. Whether your mother can, that remains to be seen. The petition went through faster than expected. 3 days later, Anthony got the call. Rita Reed had been court-ordered to attend a mediated session at the VA hospital. Failure to appear would result in a psych hold and mandatory evaluation. She'd agreed to come. The session was scheduled for 2 p.m. on a Thursday. Anthony arrived an hour early, too anxious to wait at the shelter. He sat in the VA parking lot in Dr. Foster's car, watching people come and go. Other veterans. Other broken soldiers trying to piece themselves back together. At 1:55, a city bus pulled up and his mother got off. She was wearing her nursing scrubs again, like she'd come straight from work. She looked smaller than he remembered. Older. Her hair had more gray in it. She walked slowly, reluctantly, like every step toward the building was a step toward execution. Anthony watched her disappear through the automatic doors. His heart was hammering so hard he thought it might crack his ribs. Dr. Foster appeared at his window, tapping gently. Time. They walked in together. Took the elevator to the 3rd floor. Conference room C. Through the small window in the door, Anthony could see his mother sitting at a table, her hands folded in front of her, staring at nothing. Remember, Dr. Foster said quietly. I'm here to mediate. To keep things from escalating. But this is your conversation, Anthony. Say what you need to say. Ask what you need to ask. And try to listen, even if you don't like what you hear. Anthony nodded. Dr. Foster opened the door. Rita Reed's head snapped up. She looked at Anthony and something flickered across her face. Recognition, denial, fear, anger, all of it compressed into a single second. Then her expression went blank. Carefully, intentionally blank. Mrs. Reed, Dr. Foster said, closing the door behind them. Thank you for coming. I was ordered to come. Her voice was cold. I don't have a choice. You always have a choice. Dr. Foster gestured for Anthony to sit across from his mother. He did, slowly, his eyes never leaving her face. She wouldn't look at him. Kept her gaze fixed on the table. Mrs. Reed, I have the DNA results here. Dr. Foster placed the folder on the table between them. They confirm with 99.9% certainty that Anthony Reed is your biological son. The man sitting across from you is your child. Rita's jaw tightened. DNA can be faked. Tests can be wrong. Not this one. We ran it twice. Different labs. Same result. Then the labs are wrong. Anthony couldn't stay quiet anymore. Mom. Look at me. Please. Don't call me that. Her voice shook. You don't get to call me that. Why? Because looking at me reminds you what you did? Because if you admit I'm real, you have to admit you killed Marcus? Her eyes snapped to his then, wide and furious. Don't you dare. Don't you dare say his name. He was my brother. I loved him. And you let him die thinking I was dead. Because I wished you were. The words exploded out of her, raw and vicious. There. Are you happy? You want the truth? I wish you were dead instead of him. I wish that bomb had finished the job. I wish the army had sent me a folded flag instead of a medical report. Because Marcus was good. Marcus was sweet. Marcus was going to stay here and take care of me and build a life and be something. And you? You were always leaving. Always looking for a way out. The army was just your excuse. Anthony felt like he'd been shot. The words hit him center mass, every one a bullet. Rita kept going, tears streaming down her face now. You left us. You left me alone with the bills in the house and a teenage boy who cried every night because his big brother chose some stupid war over him. Do you know what that did to him? Do you know how many times I had to tell him you were fine, you were coming back, you didn't forget about us? And then you stopped writing. You stopped calling. You disappeared. And I had to watch Marcus break a little more every day. I was in a hospital. Anthony shouted back. I was blown up. I almost died. But you didn't die. You're here. You're still here. Rita's voice cracked. And Marcus isn't. My baby isn't. The good one isn't. Just you. Just the son who couldn't wait to run away. Dr. Foster tried to interject. Mrs. Reed, Anthony's service. I don't care about his service. She turned on the doctor. I don't care about his sacrifice or his medals or whatever story he tells himself to justify abandoning his family. My youngest son is dead. He's in the ground. And this stranger shows up at my door with a ruined face expecting me to what? Celebrate? Throw a party? Act like everything's fine? I expect you to acknowledge I'm your son. Anthony slammed his hand on the table. I expect you to admit you know who I am. I expect you to admit you let Marcus believe I was dead even though you knew I wasn't. The room went silent. Rita's face drained of color. That's right, Anthony said quietly, dangerously. I know about the letter. The one the army sent. The one you burned. I know you let Marcus grieve me for a month. I know you two fought about it the night he died. I know he took the car to come find me. To prove you were lying. And I know he never made it. Rita's hands started shaking. How do you? His journal. Jasmine gave it to me. Marcus wrote everything down. Every lie you told. Every time you blamed me. Every time you poisoned him against me. Anthony pulled the journal from his pocket and dropped it on the table. Read it. Read what you did to him. Read what your lies cost. Rita stared at the journal like it was a snake. She didn't touch it. Didn't move. Mrs. Reed, Dr. Foster said gently. Is this true? Did you receive notification about Anthony's injury and hide it from Marcus? She didn't answer. Just sat there shaking. Anthony's voice broke on the word. Say it. Say you know who I am. Say you know what you did. Say it. Rita's face crumpled. She buried her face in her hands and sobbed. Deep, racking sobs that shook her whole body. I'm sorry, she choked out between tears. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. For what? Anthony pressed. Say it. Say what you're sorry for. For lying. For letting Marcus think you were dead. For being angry at you for surviving. For wishing. She couldn't finish. Just cried harder. Anthony felt his own tears coming and fought them back. Do you know who I am? A long, horrible pause. Then barely a whisper. Yes. Say my name. Anthony. It came out broken. You're Anthony. You're my son. You're my firstborn. And I turned you away. I looked at you and I knew it was you, and I still turned you away. There it was. The admission. The truth. Anthony had wanted it so badly, had fought so hard for it, and now that he had it, it didn't feel like victory. It just felt like devastation. Why? He asked. If you knew, why did you do it? Rita finally looked up at him. Her eyes were red and swollen and filled with a grief so deep Anthony could drown in it. Because looking at you hurt more than pretending you were dead. Because every time I see your face I see that hospital room where they told me Marcus was gone. Because you're alive and he's not, and it's not fair. It's not fair. I didn't ask to survive. I didn't ask for any of this. Neither did I, Rita shouted back. I didn't ask to raise 2 boys alone after their father died. I didn't ask to work 60-hour weeks just to keep a roof over our heads. I didn't ask for you to enlist. I didn't ask for Marcus to idolize you so much he couldn't see what it was doing to our family. And I didn't ask for him to die trying to reach you. The words hung in the air, ugly and true and irreversible. Dr. Foster cleared his throat. Anthony, Rita, what happened to Marcus was a tragedy. And yes, there were choices made that contributed to that tragedy. But the question now is, what happens next? You're both grieving. You're both hurting. Can you find a way forward? Anthony looked at his mother. Really looked at her. She wasn't a monster. She was just a broken woman who'd made terrible choices because she was drowning. Just like he was drowning. Just like they all were. I don't know if I can forgive you, he said honestly. Not right now. Maybe not ever. Rita nodded, wiping her eyes. I don't expect you to. I don't deserve it. But I need you to acknowledge something. Anthony leaned forward. I loved Marcus. I didn't leave to hurt him. I left to try to help. To send money home. To give him a better chance than I had. And when I was overseas, I thought about him every day. Every single day. I was coming home to him. Everything I survived to see him again. A fresh wave of tears rolled down Rita's face. He loved you so much. You were his whole world. And you tried to take that away from him. I know. And it killed him. I know. Rita's voice was barely audible. I know what I did. I'll know it for the rest of my life. I'll see his face every night when I close my eyes. I'll hear him screaming at me. I'll wonder every single day if I just told him the truth, would he still be here? They sat in silence, 2 broken people separated by a table and 3 years of grief and choices that couldn't be unmade. Finally, Anthony stood. I have to go. Wait. Rita reached out, then pulled her hand back, uncertain. I can't do this right now. I can't sit here and pretend we're okay. We're not okay. We might never be okay. Anthony moved toward the door. But you're right about one thing. I am your son. I am Anthony Reed. And I'm alive. And you're going to have to live with that. He walked out, leaving his mother crying at the table, leaving Dr. Foster calling after him, leaving the journal and the DNA results, and all the evidence of their mutual destruction. He made it to the parking lot before the tears came. Before his legs gave out. Before everything he'd been holding in for 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 years came pouring out in ugly, gasping sobs. A passing nurse asked if he needed help. He waved her away. This wasn't something anyone could help with. His phone buzzed. A text from Dr. Foster. Take the time you need. But don't disappear again, Anthony. You've got people who care about you. Including a mother who, despite everything, still loves you. Anthony stared at the message. Love. What a useless, complicated, destructive thing love could be. His mother loved him. He believed that now. But she'd also wished him dead. Had let Marcus die. Had turned him away from his own home. Love didn't fix that. Love didn't make any of it okay. But maybe, eventually, it could make it survivable. He stood up slowly, wiped his face, and started walking. Not toward the shelter. Not toward his mother's house. Just walking. Through the city Marcus had died in. Past the street corner where it happened, flowers still tied to the tree, faded and brown now. Past the high school Marcus had attended. Past the park where they played basketball as kids, where Anthony had taught Marcus how to shoot free throws. Detroit was full of ghosts. Marcus's ghost. His father's ghost. The ghost of who Anthony used to be before the war. They walked beside him down every street, reminding him of what was lost, what could never be recovered. But he was still here. Still breathing. Still fighting. And maybe that would have to be enough. Anthony found himself standing outside Marcus's grave 3 hours later. He didn't remember deciding to come here, didn't remember looking up the cemetery location or taking the bus that dropped him at the gates of Woodlawn Cemetery. But here he was, staring at a headstone that read, Marcus Anthony Reed, beloved son and brother, 2009 to 2024. The grave was well maintained. Fresh flowers sat in the holder, yellow roses, Marcus's favorite. Someone had been here recently. His mother probably. Coming here to talk to the son she hadn't destroyed. Anthony knelt in the grass, not caring that the cold November ground soaked through his jeans. He placed his hand on the headstone, felt the carved letters under his fingers. Hey, little brother, he said quietly. I'm sorry it took me so long to visit. A wind rustled through the bare trees. Somewhere a crow called out. The cemetery was empty except for him, and the dead. I read your journal. Jasmine gave it to me. She loved you, you know. I think you knew that too, but you were too scared to do anything about it. Anthony smiled despite everything. You were always like that. Brave about everything except girls. His smile faded. I'm sorry I stopped writing. I'm sorry you thought I was dead. I'm sorry I wasn't there when you needed me most. His voice broke. I'm sorry you died thinking I'd abandoned you. Because I didn't. I would never. You were the reason I survived over there. Every time things got bad, every time I wanted to give up, I thought about coming home to you. Thought about teaching you to drive properly, not like Mom did. Thought about helping you pick a college. Thought about meeting Jasmine and embarrassing you with stories about when you were little. Anthony wiped his eyes with his sleeve. I talked to Mom today. She admitted everything. She knows who I am now. She can't pretend anymore. But I don't know if that makes anything better or just makes it all worse. A jogger passed in the distance, headphones in, oblivious. Life went on around the dead. It always did. I'm so angry at her, Marcus. I'm so angry I can barely breathe. But I'm also angry at the army for not telling you I was alive. Angry at the doctors for keeping me so drugged up I couldn't write. Angry at myself for enlisting in the first place. Angry at you for driving that night instead of waiting, instead of calling someone, instead of just holding on one more day. Anthony's hands clenched into fists. But mostly I'm angry that you're here and I'm out there and I can't ask you what you want me to do. Can't ask if you'd want me to forgive her. Can't ask if you forgive me. Silence. Just the wind and the crow and the weight of all the words that would never be answered. Anthony pulled something from his pocket, his dog tags. The metal ones he'd worn through 2 deployments. The ones that had been around his neck when the IED went off. They were scorched on one side, the serial number almost burned away. But they'd survived. Like him. Your last journal entry said I was your hero, Anthony said. But you were wrong, Marcus. You were the hero. You kept going even when everything fell apart. You kept loving me even when Mom tried to make you hate me. You kept believing I'd come home even when everyone said I wouldn't. He hung the dog tags on the headstone, letting them rest against the stone. So these are yours now. You earned them more than I ever did. He stood slowly, his knees aching. I don't know if I'm going to stay in Detroit. I don't know if I can live in this city with her, knowing what I know. But wherever I go, you're coming with me. In here. He pressed his fist to his chest. The good brother. The one who deserved to survive. Anthony started to walk away, then stopped. Turned back. One more thing. That last entry where you said you'd tell me I was your hero when I got home? I need you to know something too. His voice steadied. You saved my life, Marcus. Every letter you sent, every stupid joke, every update about school and basketball and Jasmine, that's what kept me going. When I was in that hospital thinking I'd rather be dead than live with this face, I thought about you. About how disappointed you'd be if I gave up. So I didn't. I fought through the surgeries and the pain and the therapy because I promised you I'd come home. And I kept that promise. Even if I was too late. Even if you're not here to see it. I kept my promise to you. The words echoed in the empty cemetery, then faded. Anthony walked back through the gates, past rows of the dead, all the stories that ended too soon. His phone buzzed. Another text from Dr. Foster. Your mother would like to see you again. When you're ready. No pressure. But she has something she wants to give you. Anthony stared at the message for a long time. Part of him wanted to delete it, block the number, leave Detroit tonight and never look back. But another part, the part that sounded like Marcus, whispered that running away wouldn't fix anything. Hadn't fixed anything the first time. He texted back. Tomorrow. 2 p.m. Same place. The response came immediately. I'll set it up. That night, back at the shelter, Anthony couldn't sleep again. But this time instead of lying awake angry, he opened his phone and started typing. An email to Jasmine. Thank you for giving me Marcus's journal. Thank you for loving my brother. Thank you for making sure I knew the truth. I went to his grave today. Left him my dog tags. Told him everything I wish I could have said in person. I think he would have liked you even more than he already did. I think you two would have been good together. I'm sorry you didn't get that chance. I'm sorry for a lot of things. But I'm grateful you were in his life. Grateful he had someone who saw him. Really saw him. That's rare. Hold on to that. Anthony. He hit send before he could second guess it. The next morning, Anthony borrowed clothes from the shelter donation box, jeans that actually fit, a clean button-down shirt, a jacket without holes. He shaved carefully around his scars, combed his hair. Looked at himself in the bathroom mirror. Still a stranger. Still a monster. But maybe, just maybe, also still a man. Still Anthony Reed. Still someone's son. Someone's brother. Still here. Dr. Foster picked him up at 1:30. They drove in silence until the doctor finally said, Your mother's been in intensive therapy since yesterday. Processing a lot of guilt. A lot of grief. I won't lie to you, Anthony, she's not okay. Won't be for a long time. But she's trying. That counts for something. Does it? Anthony stared out the window. Trying doesn't bring Marcus back. No. Nothing brings Marcus back. But trying is the difference between drowning and learning to swim. Right now, your mother's learning to swim. It's messy and painful, and she's going under a lot. But she's trying. They pulled into the VA parking lot. Through the window, Anthony could see his mother already inside, sitting in the same conference room, in the same chair. But something was different. She looked smaller somehow. More fragile. Like the truth had hollowed her out. "Ready?" Dr. Foster asked. Anthony nodded. They walked in together. Rita looked up when they entered. Her eyes were red-rimmed, puffy from crying. But when she looked at Anthony this time, she didn't look away. Didn't flinch. Just looked at him like she was memorizing his face. This new face. This stranger's face that belonged to her son. "Anthony," she said, and his name in her mouth sounded different now. Heavier. More real. "Thank you for coming." He sat across from her. Dr. Foster took a seat to the side, close enough to intervene but far enough to give them space. "I've been thinking," Rita started, her hands folded tightly in her lap like she was holding herself together. "About what you said yesterday. About how I tried to take you away from Marcus. And you were right. I did. I was jealous of how much he loved you. Jealous that even when you were gone, you were more present in his life than I was. I worked so much, was so tired all the time, and when I came home he'd be in his room writing you letters or looking at pictures of you or counting down days until your deployment ended. And I resented that. Resented you for leaving but somehow still being the center of his world." Anthony pulled something from his pocket, his dog tags. The metal ones he'd worn through 2 deployments. The ones that had been around his neck when the IED went off. They were scorched on one side, the serial number almost burned away. But they'd survived. Like him. "Your last journal entry said I was your hero," Anthony said. "But you were wrong, Marcus. You were the hero. You kept going even when everything fell apart. You kept loving me even when Mom tried to make you hate me. You kept believing I'd come home even when everyone said I wouldn't." He hung the dog tags on the headstone, letting them rest against the stone. "So these are yours now. You earned them more than I ever did." He stood slowly, his knees aching. "I don't know if I'm going to stay in Detroit. I don't know if I can live in this city with her, knowing what I know. But wherever I go, you're coming with me. In here." He pressed his fist to his chest. "The good brother. The one who deserved to survive." Anthony started to walk away, then stopped. Turned back. "One more thing. That last entry where you said you'd tell me I was your hero when I got home? I need you to know something too." His voice steadied. "You saved my life, Marcus. Every letter you sent, every stupid joke, every update about school and basketball and Jasmine, that's what kept me going. When I was in that hospital thinking I'd rather be dead than live with this face, I thought about you. About how disappointed you'd be if I gave up. So I didn't. I fought through the surgeries and the pain and the therapy because I promised you I'd come home. And I kept that promise. Even if I was too late. Even if you're not here to see it. I kept my promise to you." The words echoed in the empty cemetery, then faded. Anthony walked back through the gates, past rows of the dead, all the stories that ended too soon. His phone buzzed. Another text from Dr. Foster. "Your mother would like to see you again. When you're ready. No pressure. But she has something she wants to give you." Anthony stared at the message for a long time. Part of him wanted to delete it, block the number, leave Detroit tonight and never look back. But another part, the part that sounded like Marcus, whispered that running away wouldn't fix anything. Hadn't fixed anything the first time. He texted back. "Tomorrow. 2 p.m. Same place." The response came immediately. "I'll set it up." That night, back at the shelter, Anthony couldn't sleep again. But this time, instead of lying awake angry, he opened his phone and started typing. An email to Jasmine. "Thank you for giving me Marcus's journal. Thank you for loving my brother. Thank you for making sure I knew the truth. I went to his grave today. Left him my dog tags. Told him everything I wish I could have said in person. I think he would have liked you even more than he already did. I think you two would have been good together. I'm sorry you didn't get that chance. I'm sorry for a lot of things. But I'm grateful you were in his life. Grateful he had someone who saw him. Really saw him. That's rare. Hold on to that. Anthony. He hit send before he could second guess it. The next morning, Anthony borrowed clothes from the shelter donation box, jeans that actually fit, a clean button-down shirt, a jacket without holes. He shaved carefully around his scars, combed his hair. Looked at himself in the bathroom mirror. Still a stranger. Still a monster. But maybe, just maybe, also still a man. Still Anthony Reed. Still someone's son. Someone's brother. Still here. Dr. Foster picked him up at 1:30. They drove in silence until the doctor finally said, "Your mother's been in intensive therapy since yesterday. Processing a lot of guilt. A lot of grief. I won't lie to you, Anthony, she's not okay. Won't be for a long time. But she's trying. That counts for something. Does it?" Anthony stared out the window. Trying doesn't bring Marcus back. No. Nothing brings Marcus back. But trying is the difference between drowning and learning to swim. Right now, your mother's learning to swim. It's messy and painful, and she's going under a lot. But she's trying. They pulled into the VA parking lot. Through the window, Anthony could see his mother already inside, sitting in the same conference room, in the same chair. But something was different. She looked smaller somehow. More fragile. Like the truth had hollowed her out. "Ready?" Dr. Foster asked. Anthony nodded. They walked in together. Rita looked up when they entered. Her eyes were red-rimmed, puffy from crying. But when she looked at Anthony this time, she didn't look away. Didn't flinch. Just looked at him like she was memorizing his face. This new face. This stranger's face that belonged to her son. "Anthony," she said, and his name in her mouth sounded different now. Heavier. More real. "Thank you for coming." He sat across from her. Dr. Foster took a seat to the side, close enough to intervene but far enough to give them space. "I've been thinking," Rita started, her hands folded tightly in her lap like she was holding herself together. "About what you said yesterday. About how I tried to take you away from Marcus. And you were right. I did. I was jealous of how much he loved you. Jealous that even when you were gone, you were more present in his life than I was. I worked so much, was so tired all the time, and when I came home he'd be in his room writing you letters or looking at pictures of you or counting down days until your deployment ended. And I resented that. Resented you for leaving but somehow still being the center of his world." She took a shaky breath. "When the notification came about your injury, I sat at the kitchen table for 2 hours just staring at it. It said you were critical. Might not survive. And my very first thought, was good. Isn't that horrible? What kind of mother thinks that about her own child?" "A grieving one," Dr. Foster said quietly. "A desperate one. A terrible one," Rita corrected. "I could have told Marcus the truth right then. Could have said your brother's hurt but he's alive. But I didn't. I burned that letter because I thought if Anthony died, Marcus would finally be mine again. Would finally stop looking at me like I was second place. Would finally let go of this fantasy that his brother was coming home to save us all." Anthony's jaw tightened. Hearing it out loud was somehow worse than knowing it. "But he didn't die," Rita continued. "More letters came. Updates. Medical reports. And I burned them all. Told myself I was protecting Marcus from the pain of watching you suffer from afar. Told myself it was mercy. But it wasn't. It was selfishness. Pure selfishness. And when Marcus found those reports, the ones I'd hidden in my closet thinking he'd never look, and confronted me." Her voice broke. "The things I said to him. The things I can never take back." "What did you say?" Anthony asked, even though he wasn't sure he wanted to know. Rita closed her eyes. "I told him if he loved you so much, maybe he should go live with you. Told him I'd raised him alone for 16 years, and if he couldn't appreciate that, couldn't see that I was the one who stayed, then he should leave. Told him to get out of my house. She opened her eyes, tears streaming down her face. And he did. He took my keys and he left, and that was the last conversation I ever had with my baby. The last words I said to him were, "Get out." The room was silent except for Rita's crying. Anthony felt his own throat tighten, but he forced himself to stay composed. To listen? "I've been carrying that for 6 months," Rita said. 6 months of knowing my last words to Marcus were angry, were cruel, were the push that sent him into that car. And then you showed up at my door and I saw your face, this face that looks nothing like my Anthony but somehow is my Anthony, and all I could think was he's alive and Marcus isn't. And I couldn't handle it. Couldn't look at you without seeing what I'd done. So I pretended. Told myself you were an imposter because that was easier than admitting I'd failed both my sons. She reached into her purse with shaking hands and pulled out an envelope. Slid it across the table to Anthony. "This is what I wanted to give you. What I should have given you 6 months ago." Anthony opened it carefully. Inside was a letter. Marcus's handwriting. Addressed to him. "He wrote it the week before he died," Rita said. "I found it in his room after the funeral. He'd sealed it, written your name on it, was going to mail it. But he never got the chance. I've been holding on to it. Reading it. Using it to torture myself because that's what I deserved. But it's yours. It was always supposed to be yours." Anthony's hands trembled as he unfolded the letter. Marcus's words, written in his messy slant, jumped off the page. "Dear Anthony, I know you probably won't get this letter like you didn't get the last 4. But I'm writing it anyway because I need you to know some things in case you really are dead and I never get to say them to your face. First, I don't care what Mom says. You didn't abandon us. You left to help us. I know that. I've always known that. The money you sent home paid for my braces. Paid for groceries. Paid the electric bill more times than Mom will admit. You did that. You took care of us even from thousands of miles away. Second, you're my hero. Not because you're a soldier. Not because you're brave or strong or any of that stuff people say. You're my hero because you're my brother. Because you taught me how to ride a bike and stood up to Tyler Morrison when he tried to steal my lunch money, and stayed up with me the night Dad died even though you were hurting too. You're my hero because you saw me. Really saw me. Not just as the annoying little brother but as a person. As someone worth your time. Third, if you're really dead, I'm sorry I wasn't a better brother. Sorry I complained when you used all the hot water. Sorry I borrowed your Jordans without asking. Sorry I didn't tell you enough how much you meant to me. But if you're alive, and I really hope you are because the alternative is too awful to think about, then I need you to know I'm still here. Still waiting. Still believing you're coming home. And when you do, I'm going to hug you so hard you can't breathe. I'm going to introduce you to Jasmine. I finally talked to her. I'm going to show you all the songs I learned on guitar. I'm going to tell you everything you missed. I'm going to make sure you know that no matter what happened to you over there, no matter how you changed, you're still my brother. Still my hero. Still the person I want to be when I grow up. Come home safe, Anthony. That's all I want. Just come home. Love, Marcus. P.S. Tell Jasmine I said hi when you read this. Because I know I'm going to be too chicken to ask her out before you get back. You'll probably have to do it for me like you did with Sarah Bennett in 8th grade. Yeah, I knew about that. You're not as sneaky as you think. Anthony read the letter 3 times. The words blurred as tears filled his eyes and spilled over, and he didn't try to stop them. Marcus had known. Had understood. Had never stopped believing in him even when their mother tried to destroy that belief. He loved you so much. Rita whispered. Even at the end. Even when he was angry at me, he was never angry at you. In his mind, you were perfect. Untouchable. The one good thing in his life that couldn't be ruined. Anthony carefully refolded the letter, held it against his chest. Thank you, he said hoarsely, for keeping this. For giving it to me. It's not enough, Rita said. Nothing I do will ever be enough to make up for what I took from you. The time. The chance to say goodbye. The ability to grieve him properly. She looked at him directly, her eyes desperate and pleading. But I need you to understand something, Anthony. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not asking you to forget what I did or to have a relationship with me or to call me Mom ever again. I'm just asking you to know that I do see you now. I do recognize you. You are my son. You are Anthony Marcus Reed. You survived a war and came home, and I should have thrown my arms around you and thanked God you were alive. Instead, I slammed the door in your face. And I will regret that for the rest of my life. Anthony sat with that for a long moment. The letter in his hands. His mother's confession hanging in the air. All the pain and grief and anger of the last week pressing down on him. I can't forgive you, he said finally. Not yet. Maybe not ever. What you did to Marcus, what you did to me, that's not something I can just let go. Rita nodded, accepting it. I understand. But, Anthony continued, I also can't hate you. Because Marcus wouldn't want me to. He spent his last months trying to defend you even when you didn't deserve it. Trying to make excuses for why you were pulling away. He loved you. Even at the end. And I have to honor that. What does that mean? Rita asked quietly. It means I'm not walking out of here pretending you don't exist. But I'm also not walking back into that house on Piedmont Street and acting like we're a family again. We're not. We might never be. Anthony took a breath. But maybe someday, when I've had time to process all of this, when you've had therapy and worked through your own guilt, maybe we can try to be something. Not mother and son. Not like before. But something. Two people who survived the same tragedy and are trying to figure out how to live with what's left. Dr. Foster leaned forward. That's more than reasonable, Anthony. And Rita, I think that's the best outcome you could hope for right now. Rita wiped her eyes, nodding. Whatever you need. However long you need. I'll wait. I owe you that much. Anthony stood. Rita stood too, hesitant, like she wanted to hug him but didn't dare. Anthony looked at her, this woman who'd given birth to him, raised him, loved him, resented him, nearly destroyed him. She was human. Flawed. Broken. Just like everyone else. He held out his hand. Rita stared at it for a second, then took it. Her grip was weak, trembling. But it was contact. It was acknowledgement. It was a start. Take care of yourself, Mom, Anthony said. The word felt strange in his mouth. Foreign but not entirely wrong. Get help. Real help. Do it for Marcus. Do it for yourself. I will, she promised. I am. Anthony let go of her hand and walked toward the door. Dr. Foster followed. Anthony, Rita called out. He paused but didn't turn around. Your brother wrote one more thing. In his journal. The very last page. After everything else. He wrote, when Anthony comes home, tell him I forgive him for everything. And tell him to forgive himself too. Anthony's shoulders shook. He didn't respond. Just walked out into the hallway, letting the door close behind him. Dr. Foster walked him to the elevator in silence. When the doors opened, he put a hand on Anthony's shoulder. You did good in there. Better than most people could have done. It doesn't feel good, Anthony said. It's not supposed to. Healing never feels good at first. It just feels like surviving. But surviving is enough. For now it's enough. The elevator descended. Anthony watched the numbers light up. 3, 2, 1. Ground floor. The doors opened and he stepped out into the lobby, into the afternoon light streaming through the windows, into the world that kept turning whether you were ready or not. His phone buzzed. A text from Jasmine. I read your email. Thank you. I'm going to visit Marcus tomorrow. Bring him flowers. Would you want to come with me? No pressure. Just thought maybe we could both talk to him. Tell him we're okay. Or trying to be. Let me know. Anthony typed back. Yeah. I'd like that. What time? 10 a.m.? I'll be there. He put his phone away and walked outside. Detroit stretched out around him, broken and healing, dying and being reborn, holding its ghost close while reaching for something better. Anthony understood that now. Understood you could be broken and still breathing. Could be haunted and still have hope. Marcus was gone. That truth would never change. But Marcus had also left something behind, a journal full of love, a letter full of belief, a legacy that said even in the darkest times, even when everyone else gives up, some people hold on. Some people keep believing. Some people choose love over bitterness. Anthony pulled out his phone again and opened his notes. Started typing. Marcus, day 1. Talked to Mom today. It was hard. Really hard. But I did it. And tomorrow I'm going back to your grave with Jasmine. We're going to tell you about today. About how we're trying. About how we're not okay, but we're not giving up either. You'd like that. You always were the optimistic one. The one who believed things could get better even when they looked impossible. I'm going to try to be more like that. Not for me. For you. Because you deserved a brother who fought as hard to stay alive as you fought to keep believing in him. I'm still here, little brother. Still fighting. Still your hero, even if I don't feel like one. Love you? Always. Anthony. He saved it. Started walking. Didn't know where he was going yet. Maybe back to the shelter. Maybe to find a permanent place to stay. Maybe just walking to walk, to feel his legs move, to know he was alive and that mattered, even when everything hurt. A bus pulled up. The driver looked at him through the open doors. You getting on? Anthony looked at the route number. It went past Woodlawn Cemetery. Past Marcus. He climbed aboard, paid his fare, took a seat by the window. The bus lurched forward and Detroit rolled past, the broken and the beautiful, the dead and the living, all of it tangled together in a city that refused to quit. Just like him. Anthony pressed his forehead against the cold window and closed his eyes. Felt the letter from Marcus folded in his pocket, warm against his heart. He wasn't okay. Might not be okay for a long time. But he was here. Still breathing. Still his brother's hero. Still his mother's son, for whatever that was worth now. Still Anthony Reed. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough. If you made it to the end of Anthony's story, you felt something real. Something raw. That's what we do here. We tell stories that matter. Stories about real people facing impossible choices. If you want more stories like this, hit that subscribe button right now. Drop a comment telling me what you thought about Rita's choice. Could you forgive her? And if this story touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.